Welcome back, guys. So on this video, let's talk about variables in Java, right? So before we do that, let's just delete all this stuff. So we have and press enter a couple of times. So yeah, so within Java, there are different types of variables, right? There are string, there are int, there's float, there's char, and there's Boolean. So what that is actually here, let me put multi-line comment first. So you put a couple of things here. String, right? And then we have int. And then we have float. We have char. And then we have Boolean. Okay. So let's define every single one of them. So string, this thing stores things like a text, okay? And they're all written in double quotation. So this thing is text or words or whatever you want to say, right? And they are, you could say, and they are written in using double quotes, okay? Using double quotes. So you can use this in double quotes. They're surrounded by double quotes. Int stores integers, okay? These are integers. They're integers, basically whole numbers, okay? These are whole numbers, not decimal. Okay, and this could be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on and on. Okay, float stores floating point, or with decimals. Okay, these so here, these are floating numbers. Okay, with decimals. So what this is, it could be like 1.1, 2.1, 3.3, it doesn't matter. And you just go on and on, right? It's anything that has that dot something afterward. Char, it stores single character. Okay, it's a single character. So what is single character? It could be things like, let's say A, right? Or capital A. Again, these are two separate things. Capital A and lowercase a, those are two separate things. They're not the same. And usually these are surrounded by single quote. Okay? Single quote. It could be, this thing is like hello world, right? Not the double, yeah, hello world. And Boolean stores, it's either true or false, right? It's only two state, right? It only has two things, either true or false. That's it, nothing else. Now, how do you declare these variables, right? So let's just go ahead and try to create some of this. So I can have some like string, and it gives you that, it gives you that what this means as well, right? It gives you all the different definitions and whatnot. So string, you could have a string, let's say string class, no, actually you cannot have class because class is a keyword. String, let's say name or course name equal, let's say Java, right? And again, you have to end it, remember, semicolon. You have to end it with a semicolon. We went over this in a couple lectures ago. And if you want to print out, again, this is a string. If you want to print this out, again, S out, that's the keyword, right? And you can just say course name. So you don't need to say Java anymore. You don't need the double quote anymore. This thing right here is holding the keyword Java. So if you just run this thing, it'll automatically work. If I just do this, run as Java application, and okay that, as you can see, it just did that thing. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. If I want to do it for int, right? Let's say int, let's say it's a course grade, just an example again, right? And in here, let's say course grade, let's say these are in numbers, so let's say 95, right? Again, end it with a semicolon, so it'll just end there. And if I was to do again as out, and if I was to do course grade, so this way I don't have to change. If I change this number here, it'll automatically get updated over here as well. So if I was to print this as well, run as Java application, yes, then you see it changes. This is Java and 95. And if I was to change this to, let's say, I don't know, let's say 99, now I don't have to change anything on line 20, on 19, because I changed it over there. It'll automatically get updated on the course grade, right? So if I was to run this again, see, it automatically just runs it. It automatically updates. Okay, that's basically how you do it. And yeah, and then other things, if I want to do like a char or Boolean or float or whatever the thing is, right? So let's say I want to do int. Let's say I do let's just say course floating grade, right? And let's say I put 95.6, right? Whatever the case is. And within this, right, or I have to just end it with the keyword f. And that should do it. It's not int, apology. That's why it's red. It's not int, it should be float. Okay, so now it just goes well. Okay, now you see this, if I don't put the f, it gives you the error. So you need to put f. So now it knows that this thing is a floating number, even though we're defining it over here, but you just have to put f over here, so it just works. And then you have your car. Okay, let's say course grade in char. Again, you can put any name you want, doesn't really matter. And let's say I could, again, it's a single quote. I cannot put double. It has to be a single quote, and I put A and end with the same column. And then you have Boolean, right? Boolean is lowercase b. And then it could say course pass or fail, right? And over here, you can either have true or false, right? Or you can just say course pass, right? And you can either have true, okay? And I can also have course fail equals false, right? Again, if I don't put the semicolon, it just gives you the error message. So put that in there. So you have all this, okay? So hopefully this makes sense to you guys, as well as how to print out all this thing, right? Within the variable, right? Obviously, we can add in different things. If we want to print it out, if we want to print out multiple things together, obviously we can do that as well. So let's say I want to print the variables, right? Let's say I put string, and I say my name, right? My name equals, let's say John, right? I end it. Then I have string, my last name equal Smith, right? My first name. And this gives me an error because I don't have it in quotation. John. So just remember to put quotation, otherwise it will give you that error message. Let's say I have these two together, right? And if I want to print out both of them together, which is called concatenation, okay? If I want to put both of them together, I can just do S out, right? And I can say things like, my name is space, and then I can put plus my, you see, this option will show up. So you can go my first name plus, then again, if you want to put a space in there, you can just put this and put a space plus my last name. Now what this would do, it'll say my name is, put a little space, and then it'll say first name, which is John, put a little space, and it'll put last name, and then it'll just end it. Okay, so let's try to run this thing. Let's see. Okay, see this? It gives you that whole thing. If I wanted to, let's say, string, and I can just say name, right? Equal, or I can say whole name or full name, doesn't matter. Full name. Over here, I can have my first name plus, and I can put a spacing over here as well if I wanted to, plus my last name, okay? And then close it. If I was to do this, I don't really need all of this thing. I can just say my name is, just delete this, and I can just say full name, and it'll print out this whole thing, because right now this full name right here is storing both of this name together, right? So if I was to run this again, and it gives me this, my name is John Smith. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. And again, you can, this doesn't apply just to string. You can also do it with integer as well. So if I was to do integer or any other, it doesn't really matter. Let's say I do int, and let's say I do my first num, right? Equal, again, don't put quotation because this is just integer. So let's say I put, I don't know, 3, right? And then int my second num. Again, the reason I'm writing it this way, as you can see, the first letter is lowercase, and then I put on the second letter that I have, I capitalize it, and then the other after that. So every single letter, I just capitalize the very first letter. This is just this is called camel case. So you can, it's easier to read basically. So let's say 3, then I put 5, right? And then the same thing, just like we did on the last one, we can say things like int, let's say sum, right? It doesn't matter what you put in there, but let's say sum equals, we say my first, see, everything shows up here, right? You can say my first num plus my second num, which is number. And we can do this as out, and we can just say sum. What this will do is it'll add 3 plus 5. Okay, so if I was to refactor and do Java application, see, it just gives you that. If you wanted to, let's say, multiply this, right? So So let's say if I want to multiply, I can say int sum, or not sum, let's say multiply equal. Again, this name can be anything. I can say ABC in here, it'll still work. And over here, let's say I say my first num times, so this is the multiply sign, times my second num, right? S out. And if I say multiply, again, this multiply is coming from here. Okay. So if I was to do this, 3 times 5, that's 15. That gives you that 15. Again, you guys can do it for the other ones as well. It's the same concept. There's no difference. Another thing, if I want to declare multiple variables, right? How I can declare multiple variables? Obviously, we are already declaring multiple variables here, right? We are already doing that, but we are creating it on a separate lines and everything. If I wanted to, I can also do it on the same line if I want it. And what I mean by that is this. As long as it is the same type, right? As long as it's the same type, what I can do, oops, let's say I say string, right? String, and let's say I just say people, right? Or I can say, let's say, gender equals, oops, not sure why you could does that. Gender equals, let's say I say male, right? I put comma, then I put, let's say I put education equals, why does it do that? Education, let's say it says masters, right? Then let's say I say job equals, let's say salary, whatever the case is, then I just end it, right? Now, instead of me typing in string multiple times, I just typed it once and I'm good to go. I declared everything over here, right? And same thing, if I wanted to do it for integer, right? I can do the same thing. Let's say I say int, let's say a equals 5, right? B equals 7, B equals 7, C equals, I don't know, 16, doesn't matter. And you can put as many as you want. This will save us a ton of time, right? We don't have to do it over and over again. We don't have to write it on multiple lines. Again, this maybe seems a little bit more advanced for you, but you can also declare it this way. Okay, hopefully this makes sense to you guys. And another thing I wanted to show you guys is, let's say I don't declare anything, and let's say I just have int, right? And I just have, let's say, I don't know, let's say D, E, F, right? And I just close it. Again, I didn't declare anything. Later on, if I want to declare, I can declare. If I want to make all these things equal to each other, right? If I say like D equals E equals F equals, I don't know, let's say 11, right? This would also work, right? This is basically saying D is 11, E is 11, and F is 11, okay? Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So 11 plus 11 plus 11. So if it's basically 33, right? So let's just do a print statement and see if it works. It's S out. Let's say we do D plus E plus f, right? in here, as you can see, we were saying what to do, right? We were saying that, okay, add, multiply, or whatever. In this case, we're not saying anything, right? We're not saying that do this or do that, right? We are specifically saying that D, E, F, just, they're all equal to each other. Do whatever you want to do. So if we say D plus E plus F, this will just add, okay? Here. So this will be the last result. See, it gives us 33. If we were to multiply, this will just change the sign and this will just multiply. Okay. So if we do multiply, this would also do that right there. If we wanted to, let's say, if we want to add something, right? If we want to add, so this will just multiply first and then it will add. So it's 132, right? So is basically it uses PEMDAS, which is the parentheses, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So PEMDAS. So yeah, so it'll just use addition, subtraction. Yeah, so it'll just do all those things. That's basically what is using for all these math operations. Hopefully as of now you guys are still with me and everything is making sense. One last thing before we end this is in variables, we cannot start a variable with any letter or digit or I'm sorry, it cannot start with any numbers or anything. Okay, so what I mean by that is, let's say I have and let's say ABC, right, equals, let's say 50. This is perfectly okay, right? But if I put 1 beforehand this, or if I put 2, or if I put 3, this will not work. Okay, I cannot put any of those things. I cannot have like this. You see, I have A and then space and then B, then whatever. I cannot have that either. This will have to be together. This thing have to be together. I cannot have any of these numbers over here either. Okay, what I can do, I can have underscore. This is fine. If I have underscore, this is perfectly okay. But if I put 1, obviously this is not okay. So how you can check? If I put 1, you see this little X, right? It gives you that error. If I put underscore, you see that it just goes away, right? That means that is not an issue. I can, however, put 1 or 2 or whatever I want to put. I can, after the first letter, I can put it over there. I can put it over here. It'll work perfectly okay. No problem whatsoever in that case. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah, you can use underscore. Okay, so let me just and let's say I put ABC again equals, let's say 60. And I can put like $1, that would be okay. Yeah, so like there are a few things. I think it's like letter, digits, underscore, $sign. It should be fine. Yeah, those all should be fine. And again, please make it case sensitive as well, right? So even though I have this, so this ABC, this underscore ABC, or here, if I have this, you see, I cannot have that. I cannot have both names together. They have to be unique. Okay, that's how they're identified. I cannot have both of them the same. What I can have, these ABC and these ABC, I can have that because that's different. Okay, however you type it up, that matters. Lowercase, uppercase, that matters. So yeah, I hope all this thing makes sense. I know this was a long video, but yeah, thank you for sticking with this. I hope this makes sense. If you have any question, please do let us know. And yeah, please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much, guys. Have a good one.